Hey friends, today I'm going to tell you about a 2021 movie called The Stairs. The film kicks off in the Pacific Northwest, Washington State, 1997. 11-year-old Jesse and his mom arrive at his grandparents' place deep in the woods so he can go hunting with his grandpa. While the women pack supplies for the hunters, Jesse's mom complains that kids at school are bullying her son, and as a single mother, she's struggling to deal with it. Soon, Jean and Jesse hit the road and eventually stop at their chosen spot. They check their weapons, grab their backpacks, and head into the forest, hoping to bag a deer. They soon spot one. The kid nails it with his first shot but doesn't finish it off. Examining the blood on the leaves, Grandpa realizes the animal is badly wounded and urges Jesse to hurry so they can put it out of its misery. The pair follows the trail, but Jesse suddenly feels like snacking. He pulls out some cookies from his backpack and lags behind a bit. Then, he hears noises made by some small, cute critter. Trying to lure it out, he tosses cookie crumbs into the bushes, but the creature scampers away. Jesse chases after it while Grandpa catches up to the wounded deer and finishes it off. He tries shouting for his grandson, but Jesse doesn't answer because, at that very moment, he stumbles upon something bizarre in the middle of the forest. A staircase. Dozens of steps leading up to nothing. Jesse inspects the structure while Grandpa searches for him in the dense woods. Suddenly, he hears the boy scream and rushes to help. The stunned man spots the staircase, circles it, and sees Jesse vanish through a door. Grandpa charges after him, and no one ever sees them again. 20 years later, brothers Nick and Josh head to the same area. While buying coffee at a roadside diner, they hear a warning. Blood Moon Night is coming, a time when people, mostly tourists, regularly disappear around here. Nick notices a wall covered with photos of missing persons. Soon, the brothers arrive at the meeting point with their friends. Joining them are old acquaintances Rebecca and her friend Jordan, plus, as an unpleasant surprise, their obnoxious buddy Doug. The group sorts their backpacks and ventures into the forest for a 20-mile trek. Everything seems fine until, at the first rest stop, Nick collapses from exhaustion. His friends realize his backpack is ridiculously heavy. Doug digs through it, dumping out 3 pairs of jeans and a ton of canned food. The group cracks up, but why did he bring all that for a 3-day trip? Also, among the stuff, Josh finds his knife, which he thought was lost. The older brother offers to swap backpacks, and Doug takes half the cans. They decide to leave the extra stuff behind to pick up on the way back. The group moves on and makes their first slightly creepy discovery, a massive shelter like a beaver dam, but clearly not built by beavers and far from any water. After some marveling and nodding, the young folks continue. Suddenly, Rebecca notices her shoelaces are untied. She lets the group go ahead while she fixes them. Out of nowhere, a girl in a blood-stained dress with a demonic face appears before her. Rebecca screams, and the stranger brushes past her, vanishing into the thicket. Terrified, Rebecca races to catch up with the group, but, in her panic, ends up back at the shelter, where she sees the strange girl enter it. At that moment, her worried friends find her. She tells them what just happened, but no one believes her, thinking she's just overtired. As they try to convince Rebecca to keep going, Doug's scream pierces the air. They rush toward it, grabbing his backpack and stuff along the way, and arrive at a lake where a smug Doug is splashing around, having decided to take a swim. The guys want to join him, but when Doug gets out of the water, he's covered in leeches. Jordan helps him remove them with a lighter. The group moves on and suddenly hears a man's voice. Stepping into a clearing, the friends see a clearly unhinged man in a suit, with the same blood-stained dress girl sitting in front of him, clutching a child. Jordan rushes to help, but Doug notices the man's head is a mangled mess of blood and bone. He calls to the others just as the woman looks up, revealing sharp fangs instead of teeth. She speaks in some incomprehensible, definitely not human language. The man pulls out a gun, demanding they be left alone, and fires. The woman turns to the child, revealing a bizarre creature resembling a giant caterpillar. The tourists bolt, leaving Nick's backpack behind in the clearing. Realizing no one's chasing them, they stop to discuss the madness they just witnessed. No one can make sense of what that thing in the woman's arms was, and now they don't even know where to go to avoid those monsters. Doug suggests setting up camp to rest. Nick has a breakdown and Doug offers him some interesting drugs to chill out, but Josh snaps at him not to mess with his brother, given they've got enough problems already. The tourists set up camp, pitching the remaining tents. Night falls. Ignoring Josh, Doug takes his interesting drugs and heads to his tent to crash. The girls and Nick also turn in, while Josh stays by the campfire. Silence settles in. Doug has a strange, thrilling dream where Jordan comes to him. He's enjoying it, unaware that something is dragging him out of the tent. Suddenly, Jordan's face morphs into a monster's. Doug screams in terror and dies, torn apart by the creature's claws. His friends hear the horrific cry, wake up, and rush outside. Jordan checks Doug's tent and says it's empty, with all his stuff, including his flashlight, still there. They start searching for their reckless friend, and soon, Rebecca finds one of his sneakers, suggesting he's nearby. The group doubles their efforts, shouting his name and scouring the bushes, but Doug's trail goes cold. Then Nick finds his sleeping bag soaked in blood. Knowing hairy monsters are roaming around, Jordan guesses a beast must have attacked him. A fight breaks out among the friends because Rebecca had begged everyone to stay put until morning, and now they're lost. Suddenly, a light flares up in a clearing. The tourists head toward it and freeze at an astonishing sight, a staircase leading nowhere, lit by electric lamps. Nick begs his friends to stop, feeling a bad vibe, but Josh climbs up, chuckling at their fear. Looking closer, he's baffled. The staircase is pristine, not a speck of dust, needle, or leaf on it. How's that possible in a forest? Then they hear a man's voice, like he's calling someone. Josh descends, finds a door where an old man is searching for his grandson, pushes it open, and tumbles down a steep metal staircase. Nick hurries after him. Rebecca pleads for them to come back, but they see a network of corridors ahead and push forward, hoping to find Doug. The brothers end up in a strange place, like an underground factory. Out of nowhere, a boy appears, saying he can't find his grandpa, Gene. The brothers have no clue who he's talking about or what he's doing here. Jesse says a bad person found them, and hearing a roar, he darts into the darkness. The men chase after him and find themselves on a metal bridge surrounded by pipes. The boy returns, saying they just heard the hunter and he's close. He hopes the brothers know where the door is since it keeps moving, making it hard to find. Nick's confident it's no big deal. They just came through it. Jesse begs them to take him there. They head for the door, but realize they're lost. Wandering the dark underground, Jesse suddenly freezes in fear, as if in a trance. Then Nick spots the staircase and Rebecca ahead. He pushes Jesse up, begging her to take him and get him far away, as a subterranean monster attacks Josh, killing him before his brother's eyes. Rebecca yanks Nick outside and locks the door. She urges him to run, but he collapses, grieving for his brother. The door shatters from a powerful blow. Nick sees the monster, and they flee. The creature chases the group as they try to hide in the forest. Nick falls into a foul-smelling substance, and when Rebecca finds him, they realize they're surrounded by decomposing bodies, including Doug's. The girls decide to make a break for the road when Nick points out they're in a graveyard. An engine roars, and the girls sprint into the woods, finding an old trailer. Nick pries open the door, and they hide inside, but Rebecca is snatched by the monster. Nick and Jordan hear her scream and know she's gone. Jesse warns that the creature won't leave. They're always hungry, always hunting. To survive, you have to run. The unknown monster starts pounding on the trailer's thin walls, trying to break in. But suddenly, everything goes quiet. To lift his friend's spirits, Nick starts talking about his brother's childhood antics, how he was always there, protecting and guiding him. But now he's left him to be torn apart by that thing. Jordan says now's not the time to wallow in guilt. He was trying to save the others, and if he can get at least the two of them out, that's his answer to his brother. Jesse shares his name, and Nick's head snaps up. As a kid, he had a friend named Jesse who vanished with his grandpa. He reminds Jesse of that classmate and admits he's that same Nick. But how is this possible? The kid hasn't aged a day. Jordan's stunned, trying to process it. Nick explains that when he went down the staircase, it felt like he'd stepped into another dimension. Jesse says the darkness hid countless passages he and his grandpa avoided because they were full of monsters. But they got separated while fleeing from what he called larvae fathers, since their young look like beetle grubs. Just then, Jordan notices the eerie silence, but Jesse warns that if the monster caught their scent, it's not going anywhere. Nick and Jordan open the door and are immediately attacked. Nick searches for anything to use as a weapon, while Jordan checks the cab and finds a shotgun with a few shells. Nick offers to draw the monster's attention so Jordan can shoot, and she agrees. To distract it, Nick tosses out a metal pot. The creature charges at it. Nick leaps forward, keeping its focus as Jordan steps out, shotgun ready. She gets off a couple of shots, but they have no effect, and Jordan is wounded. Nick and Jesse barricade themselves in the trailer again, but hearing Jordan's voice and realizing she's still alive, Nick rushes out with a flare. He manages to light it and fire it at the monster. It catches fire and flees into the forest as Nick watches Jordan die. The surviving pair sees the staircase burning, likely set ablaze by the monster by accident. In the morning, rescuers and police find them. They don't quite believe Nick, but Jesse's presence stuns them, and the rescuers find the victims' bodies torn apart as if by a wild animal. But no staircase, no monsters, nothing. Meanwhile, Nick finds his brother's knife in his pocket and gives it to his old friend. Soon, Jesse's mom and grandma arrive. The women can't believe he's standing before them, but when they embrace him, they know it's real. Sometime later, Nick and Jesse go fishing together. The kid is grateful that his now older friend hasn't forgotten him, and Nick takes him under his wing, just like his brother once did for him.